chatting, what I'd like to do is jump right into our program, because I'm not sure one of the folks that we have on today is Jessica Johnson. She is another collaborator who does a fantastic job of supporting our Encountering Innovation. She's a teammate of ours in the Johnson County Community College Small Business Development Center as the regional director. She basically is the position of host for our conference when it's physical, and even more challenging when it's virtual. Today, based on some things that we are working on as we continue to innovate our matchmaking and our tech transfer, we are trying to do our best to listen to our innovators and our matchmaking advanced manufacturers as you ask questions, and we very much appreciate your questions. Your questions help us to hopefully respond fairly quickly in ways we can assist and improve the conference and give you better information. So with that in mind, one of the things we were working on for the conference was a tour of the virtual booths. And in doing that with our tech scouts tend to show up, whether they're physically at our physical conference or whether that's at a virtual conference. We try to work hard at getting them in one place and settle down. That has to do with my experience when I was in New York City. Every day we were at a different location. So we would spend an hour or more literally traveling through subway, Uber, or whatever, taxi, whatever you had, bus, a variety of ways to get to wherever we were going. And there were times we were going up an elevator in a building knowing this is the building we're supposed to be in, but we're on the wrong elevator. We were up and down and all around. Then at the end of the day, we had to go back and find our way back and then start over the next day. We have learned to do our best to not do that to our tech scouts. That wears them out. 50% of the tech scouts the first year were off work the next week because they were sick for an entire week. So I've lived the day in the life of the tech scout, or a week in the life of the tech scout. So we try our best not to do that. We want them up, alert, and focused. So we're in doing that, we put them in what we call the pitch room. In this case, that's a Zoom conference. They'll be in one location and they basically stay there for the bulk of the day unless they want to leave the room and go into the conference platform. With that in mind, Valerie and Jessica came up with an idea of taking the tech scouts on a tour. So Jessica, I'm gonna ask you if you've got something that you can show. If you'll demonstrate that first, then we'll tell depending on how you demonstrate it, we'll chat about it either during it or afterwards. I'll explain what we're doing with the tech scouts where they understand the flow from what you see.
Sure. Thanks, Alan. Glad to be here. And so what I have for you is we're using the exact same platform we used last year for the Virtual Encountering Innovation Conference. So we have all of the virtual expo booths. I'm able to access them. So it should give you a good idea of what your booth could look like. Alan, I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about, or I'll just jump into one. One of the premises that we were talking about in order to get the Tech Scouts interest peak is having a video. Everything's on video these days. Documents are important to get people's attention. A quick little 2-minute video, that's kind of the way to go. And so the platform in each of these booths does have the capability of having that quick video just to get a sense of who you are, what you have, what it can do, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Is everyone seeing a bunch of little square tiles?
Got it.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So this is the Expo Hall from 2020, Encountering Innovation 2020. This is how it will similarly be set up for this year. We're going to categorize the technologies and then resource partners, tech coaches, so on and so forth. So it'll be a quick quick way to go in and filter out if you just want to see a certain technology. Maybe it's medical technologies. We're going to have a category for that, aerospace technology, so on and so forth. So it's going to be quick and easy to go in and filter the best way for you to see what you want real quick, fast, in a hurry. So going in, each exhibitor has their own tile. So this is your virtual space. And I've chosen, I don't want to choose Allison's first, but that's one I'm going to go to. Drop lists. Let me find them. Let's see. So drop lists, drop aids. We're going to click in there and go into their booth. And this is how the booth will be set up. Each individual booth owner will be able to customize all of this. These are very, last year we did not have the capability for more customization. The platform has done a really good job of being able, you can change it to your company colors and even use hex codes to get those color codes just perfect. You can modify this font, you can change the color, change the size, change what type of font it is. So you can really customize these booths to really stand out and show who your company is. One great thing is that the video will always be the first thing that pops up. So Alan, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about, the importance of the video.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. So I reached out to Tim and Dave Rios this morning and got to talk to them for just a few minutes and told them I'm gonna flip on my PowerPoint to where I see my information, make sure. So what we're doing is the idea was to make sure that we took our tech scouts on a tour to where they see all the virtual booths. In our history, we find that the tech scouts tend to sit still. Not all of them. There's a couple that are, and at least one was extremely proactive and would see everyone, but most of them don't do that. So what we're challenging them with this year is what Jessica is going to show you in just a few minutes. On the tour, as they sit in one Zoom room, they'll be able to watch what you're watching basically happen. They'll see. What we're going to challenge them with is we're going to let them see, they're going to go on tour prior to seeing the pitches for that day. On Monday, that'll have to happen that morning. After Monday morning, then every afternoon, after the pitches are over for the day, the tech scouts will go on tour for what they're going to see the next day. The only exception to that will be on Thursday. There will not be any pitches on Friday. So Thursday afternoon, the tour will consist of all the matchmaking companies that are choosing not to do a pitch for the DoD. So each of you that are a matchmaking only company, your 2-minute video, 1 to 2 minute video, will be seen by all the tech scouts that remain on the tour on Thursday afternoon. So you need to think of creature comfort. Tech scouts have been sitting in their office. They've been listening to pitches. Some of them will have gone all week long. Some will be in and out. So truly, you need to think about the fact that these folks are drinking coffee, or they're a little tired. They had a bigger lunch, or they skipped lunch, and now they're hungry. And I really mean that, because living with them for a week in New York really helped me understand a lot of what the fact is. They are human beings. So that 2-minute video needs to be impactful, but what it really needs to do is tell the story, imparting what I think are your capabilities. Are you capable of innovating with your customer, or are you just innovating one idea, one project, one physical, whatever that is you're doing? When they see that 2-minute video, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what I want you to do is spark them to where they go, I thought this is what I thought I saw on the bluff. I'm now seeing. Now I'm going to proactively reach out to a program manager or another gatekeeper, in order that they may be able to see your pitch live. We're going to challenge them with trying to be prepared to invite others into the pitch room whenever you pitch. Now, obviously on Thursday with the matchmaking only, what they're going to see is are there capabilities that they're looking for in order to help some of the innovations that they're pushing to become part of the DoD program or the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Energy, several of those that will be there. So what we need you to do is needs to be interesting. It needs to be short. Let them deep dive later. You need to create interest to where they go, I'm going to come back to XYZ later, or I'm going to tell so-and-so tomorrow at 2 o'clock, XYZ is pitching. If you can, you ought to be there. Okay, now back to you.
Okay. So for an example of a tour, we're going to come in, we're going to first play the video. Based on the video, we're going to take guidance from the Tech Scouts if they want to see anything else in this booth. So that's really the importance of the video, is to spark their interest. If they say, yeah, we want to see some of these files, we will either make a note of it, or we will to come back and download them and provide them to them, or just open them up real quick, let them see. If they want it for later, then we'll download it and provide it to them. Take them through company details should they want to see that as well. And continue going on. This company, it looks like they added in, they did add in an offer for their product as well. So I'm going to play this video just to give you an example of what a video may look like. Okay, so that's one example of what a video could look like. I have one other example to show you, which is completely on the opposite side. And I do see 2 hands are raised. Let me get to those other 2 videos, or that other video, and then we'll get to your questions. So then the second video is more of a professional. So the first one you saw was done, it looked like on an iPhone or some cell phone. with some sound and text over. This is an example of another type of video.
Assets is a problem that can not only lead to waste and lost money, but also potential security threats. Asset tracker technology is a proven solution, but it's the simplicity and superior connectivity that make the AlloSense difference. Simply provision and register your tracker, attach your tracker, then immediately begin to visualize and analyze the real-time data of your assets, all from your dashboard. The data flow starts at the device, collecting data, then storing it. From the tracker, the data connects to the cloud using a combination of satellite, cellular, and our proprietary mesh communication technology. This is a self-healing network that solves the connectivity challenges created by using multiple forms of transportation, crossing long distances, or even overcoming the signal blockage that can happen with the large slabs of steel present in shipping containers. AlloSense asset trackers also track sensory information like temperature, humidity, light, and vibration. And to combat security threats, sleeper mode will silently track information and only transmit data once the assets have entered a secure geo-fenced area. The most complete protection of asset loss available. AlloSense. Sense everything. Lose nothing.
Okay. So, John, I believe you had your hand raised first.
Yeah, I just want to drive the point home that you're trying to make here. I'm John Mategi, the Tech Warrior. Hopefully some of you have heard about me. If not, that's who I am. Don't judge me based off of my face. So we've worked closely with both of these companies through Encountering Innovation, and then we've also worked with them in our event. Speaking to dropless drop aids, I can tell you, and I made this comment directly to Alan and the scouts in the room, looking at the bluff, their bluff did not align whatsoever with what was being done in there. When we saw the product, it was an aha moment. We saw it in action and we went, okay, that's what it is. So when you're doing these videos, make sure that you're looking at, am I adding value to what is already on paper? And paper only goes so far. Of people are going to come with preconceived notions of what it is you're trying to say. Guilty as charged. The other company with AlloSense, a little bit more upscale. And if I had to award one of the two, unfortunately, this is just society and the way we are. AlloSense is more high production, so I'd be more willing to give to them. But the point that I'm making is, don't shy away from using your phone to make a video, to put something out there, because that message was conveyed through dropless drop aids. And it drilled the point home, and I think all of us went, oh, that's what it is. So that's the point I wanted to make, Jessica. Thank you.
Thanks, John. It's a good ad. And Bijou.
Thank you for that, Jessica. So I'm going to add on to what John said. Thank you for that, John. So both of them are clients of our center, and the reason, the backstory to the reason for the video, iPhone video from Spencer, was really based on the challenge we were trying to get him to communicate what was his language on paper versus which we felt the same as John. It wasn't coming across, and to kind of illustrate the inherent value of his device to apply. So we had a couple of trial runs with the client to kind of get them to that stage of where we could illustrate it. So the takeaway that I wanted, and same thing for Roman also, Roman's new videos are a step above the video that you just saw. And all of it was geared from our center's guidance to kind of, because there's two sides to both of these equations that may not be apparent. One side is we were preparing them for an SBIR and the R&D components necessary for that. And then we kind of had to, and we noticed that there was a sort of a creep of those concepts over to this side of the house on the Encountering Innovation side. So we had to kind of go in and help them sort of firewall the two sides. And when you're presenting to the Encountering Innovation crowd, it's really more important kind of downplay the research and development aspect and upplay the utility aspect. And when you switch over to the SBIR side, it's flipped. So I bring that up just to give you all some guidance as you all prepare clients for each of your centers, for each of your states, to kind of keep some of those aspects in mind. So thank you.
Great, thank you. The last ad that I have right now, we're planning on 5 minutes per booth for the Tech Scouts. So keep that in mind as well with your videos as far as the length that goes on with them. So 5 minutes. Alan,
Thanks.
that's all I have unless there's anything else you need me to cover.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. So I'm going to grab my screen. Let's see, I talked about that. So I'll just go ahead and do a screen share right quick for a second. Find it. Where are we?
And Alan, while you're looking at that, I have put into everyone's OneDrive document folder, and matchmaking only participants, you'll see this later today, but the Val and Jessica have put together tutorials for the Accelavance platform, and a folder titled that has been put into everyone's documents folder. So you have access to those training materials for the platform itself.
Great, thank you. So you can see the PowerPoint, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I've already explained the timing. So I'm going to go back and just help you understand basically what's going to happen with the Tech Scouts. Like I said, you got to think about where they're at. They're sitting at their office, or they're sitting at their house in their office. Excuse me. So when they get there, basically what's going to happen is we're going to, on Monday, we'll take them on a pitch tour, what Jessica's just covered. Then there will be conference public, is the way I've put it. Just things that are happening, from keynote speaking, roundtable discussions, the different things that are happening, private pitches, and then the tour that afternoon for the next day. That will happen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What we want them to do, and this even though I can, all we can do is encourage, what we're trying to do is get what they see to create an activity. What you don't want to do, in my opinion, and showing those two videos was a great example, Jessica. Thank you for going through those. And I would say this with them on the program too, and I appreciate the fact that Bijo is here for both of them. Part of what you don't want is for someone to go, okay, I get it, move along. Because they are in information overload all day long for a week, wherever they're at. They're not getting up and walking down the hall to another location. Think of this like you're driving. Those of you that can go get highway hypnosis. When I remember driving one time, and I told everybody in the vehicle was asleep. And I started getting tired, and I thought, okay. And I said to my wife, I said, I need you to start talking to me. She says, what do you want me to say? I said, I don't care. Even that helped. And so as soon as she started talking to me and interacting, I'm coming back to life. I'm going to kill us if I doze off. So you've got to think about the reality of what's going on this week. And I can't stress that enough. I spoke to the Tech Scout yesterday about the fact that we had one of the smartest persons probably on the face of the planet spoke to us on Wednesday, and he spoke for 30 minutes. He talked the entire 30 minutes. And whenever he left, I thought, and I remember during it, I thought, I am so glad I don't have to know what he's talking about. And I was trying to think, if I was a Tech Scout, what would I do with this? And when he left, I looked over at Tim Fowler and I said, what are you going to do with this? He went, I have no idea. No one in the room got it. And there were some really smart people in there. Brett Sheringhausen has told us over and over and over to bring this down to an 8th grade level. You will get the opportunity to science up and impress people at some point. At this conference, that is not where it's at. Now, you don't need to dumb it down and talk down to people, but you need to be able to talk at a level where people can understand. Know your audience. When you're with the Tech Scouts, their job is to understand the benefit of what you're showing, whether that's matchmaking. What is the benefit of your manufacturing prowess? What have you done that they want to know about, where they can go back and refer others to you? Or if it's your technology, it's not about what your technology, how you got to your technology. It's about what it accomplishes, the benefit of it. And then, like I said, don't be so enamored in your video that you forget who your audience is and what time of the day it is and what they need to see in order to move along, because you want them to deep dive later. What Jessica showed on your virtual booth, there's all kinds of places you can put all kinds of information. I've had a client one time that didn't get a grant, and it was a local grant, and he was very upset. And then I sat on the grant judging committee, and I realized what the process was like. I felt like I was taking a test in there, having to understand every person's private pitch on paper. And at the end of the day, or at the end of the time, I was the last one in the room. And I thought, what on earth how am I this slow? And then I found out that we had the right to judge any way we wanted to. We had the metrics, and I was told, if you can't find it, you can put a 0 on there and just circle it and put 0. I guarantee you, the next time I went back in there, I was much harsher with the people that I was judging, because I was tired of having to try to figure out what they're doing whenever they can't talk to us in a way that we made it simple. That same client, I told later, I said, you want to get the grant? I said, look at the metrics and answer the questions exactly. If it says on a scale of 1 to 5, what would you say and as you go through that, I said, go ahead and score it for them. I said, if you'll, instead of being so in love with the English language, if you'll just get to bare bones, basic information through there, you'll make this work. He did it. I would say he probably felt like he dumbed it down in a very extreme way, and he flew right through and got the grant. And I thought, you got to think about the people. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but you got to remember that. So as you're going forward, the next thing that we're hearing folks talk about is their capability matrix to their capability statement. If what you're doing, as you're trying, I'm going to read this. Remember to try to be the company tech scout who doesn't know anything about your company. As you're going into your presentation, your capability statement, these people, if they have an interest in whatever it is you have, your manufacturing capability, your innovation, your technology, they're going to research you. You need to go back and research yourself. What will they find? When's the last time you've researched your name, your company, to see what information pops up first? Whatever they find, are they going to draw the natural path to understand your technology or where you're going? I talked to a company recently where Rick, I think Rick's on here. I thought I saw him. Where we did the investigating of the company. Well, who the company is and who they represented were two different companies. The parent company is who we saw, and we couldn't draw the natural path to the company that had been purchased that was bringing on what they were doing. Second of all, their parent company is their number one customer. Well, their parent company is quite well known, and they should be bragging on that, and they didn't do that as well. So the two things we saw there was understand how you're going to be researched and what people are going to find. Are they going to draw a wrong or a misunderstood conclusion about you? Just be very straightforward. It's not that complicated. You don't have to do it. It doesn't have to be that extreme. And how do I make this clear? Our parent company was first. They purchased us. We were this, And now with their assistance, we are doing this. This is our capability and this is our focus. You know, that type of thing. Those are the kind of things we're talking about that can make you stronger in that interaction with the tech scout of either the company tech scout, whoever that is, or the tech scout with the DoD. Make it very straightforward. Fill in the blanks for them, whatever they're assuming, because at the end of the day, this is about your capability, your innovation, and what the need is, nothing else. All the other stuff is clutter, or as I say, it's kind of like that fog on the mirror or the glass. It fogs in between what I'm trying to see about you versus who you really are. So all we're doing is clearing that up. It's that simple. And I go back to the guy that was probably a double PhD that spoke for 30 minutes. He didn't give anyone time to ask one question. And when he left, his communication fell on deaf ears because no one understood him. That's not what you want. You want to be able to communicate in a way that they get it and they can move forward. All right, I see chats popping up. That's basically what I wanted to get impart to you was what the Tech Scout life will be like that week, to where you understand them a little better, whether you're a matchmaking only or you're doing tech innovation, and then realize the value of that 2-minute video as well as your other documents. You get them interested, then they deep dive or they refer others to you.
Alan?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a question here, but before the question, I know I had one earlier. Last year we had, during the event, we had the public demos and the private poster boards. Would you like to refer to that, and kind of that, in essence, that won't be happening this year? And
right. So going back to how what I said from the very beginning of today, and that is your questions help us move forward in understanding what we're not communicating to you properly, or that we've miscommunicated to you. In that same regard, when it comes to our virtual conference, what we found was a lot of work going into very little benefit. We couldn't see the benefit from it. The virtual booth, if we take them on tour, then your virtual booth has an opportunity to provide information in a way that they want to act on it. Your poster board is a public document. So what we want, whether that's a capability statement, capability matrix, or it's a poster board from the tech transfer side. And so what we're doing is we're trying to get everyone to come to your virtual booth, see enough information that they want to download or ask for more information in order to reach out to you. That wasn't happening and at best we could see, that wasn't happening in the public demonstration. As we move forward, and we think we'll end up back at a point where we'll physically be together, we're looking forward to Tech Warrior and what they do with the demos and what they see from the demonstrations, and seeing those in person again. When that happens, we probably will see something else of better benefit. That's not online with the public demonstration in the conference. That's not what we saw. That sound right?
yes.
Okay.
When will matchmaker bluffs be due? And if you're selected for pitch and matchmaking, will the same bluff be used?
So no, let me clarify. The matchmaker bluff, the bottom line up front, the point that I'm trying to make is using the same terminology and for the matchmaker or for the innovator. What we're finding is as we're reading some of the capability statements within the capability matrix, we're not quite, in some cases, we're not drawing the line as to what are you? What are you? Are you this or are you, it's a little confusing. So I think if you just down in your capability matrix, that becomes our capability matrix that we send out. What I'm encouraging you to do is in that first segment, if you put in the first paragraph is your bluff, bottom line it, what it is you are about, what your capability is, then I think it simplifies and gives us an idea to where as we read forward, oh, we get it. And so that's what we're talking about. When is it due? Well, it's due as soon as we send out the capability matrix to everyone. Will the capability matrix be updated? Yes, we've talked about that. So as you go forward, if you want to, what I call throw up on a page, well, this is who I am for now. I'll flower it up or I'll try to make it better later. Just do that. Just go back and try to, honestly, I'm going back to Brett, go get a sixth to eighth grade person to read that first segment of your capability matrix. If they don't get it, then there's a good chance that whoever's reading about you doesn't get it. Will the engineer or the scientist understand you? Chances are they will. The problem is the SBLO or small business liaison officer, small business specialist, the tech coach, the tech scout, those that are scouting to refer to the engineer are the ones that will most likely read and then refer first. If they don't understand it, they move on. Why? Because we're in information overload for the entire week. This is a lot of stuff happening all week long. And if they're a little weak, they're a little tired, and they don't quite get it, then they can move forward. When's the last time you've read 48 resumes in a row? I remember doing that because we were hiring somebody. And after a while, I literally dozing off reading through resumes. That's the kind of idea we're talking about here. Make it simple. Did that answer it? So it's not really due. The matchmaker bluff at this point is not due. We're not putting it out. Should we? We should. We might as we move forward. Yeah, Bijou.
Thank you, Alan. So one of the things that I'm presenting it more for a discussion here is
Sure.
the capability matrix is more really geared towards the primes. And at that point, as a company, you have a certain level of competency, or you should have a certain level of competency. And so, Rick, if you would kind of bridge that a little bit and kind of expand on that, which we don't necessarily need to have on the innovation side of the house. So the innovation side of the house could be 80% new innovation and 20% sort of the development of that towards a prototype. But I think it's kind of flipped over on the capability matrix side, because you are essentially stating as a company that you have the capability to make X with certain specs. So you're a lot more mature on the production side of it. And so to me, the reading of the bluffs would need to be separate, and we would need to give guidance to the companies accordingly. So I'll stop there and get your feedback. Thank you.
So first of all, Bijou, thank you. That's exactly right. Basically, what I'm trying to say is pay attention to your audience, and that's what you just said. I'm not saying dumb down the bluff. I'm saying simplify the bluff to give clarity to whoever your audience is, to where they draw the path to where they're trying to go. Anyway, with that in mind, Rick, if you'll speak to Bijou.
Yeah, the one thing about it, and it's really what Alan has been saying, is keep it short, keep to the message. When we talk about capability statements, the people that normally look at capability statements are going to be, for large primes, it's going to be the business folks, the small business liaison officers. They typically are looking at a company that has a product that's mature, they're producing it, they've got customers, and they're just trying to get more customers. It's typically not a brand new product. So when you're writing your bluff, what you want to do, you've got to get their attention. And the most important thing is don't have them guessing. Is this a product that's ready for prime time? Is this a product that you've already been selling? Or is this a product that's in the development stage? And so you want to state that right up front. If you confuse folks or you try to kind of hide the fact that, well, it's not really quite ready to go, once they're confused, you've lost their attention. And so it doesn't matter that you have come up with a new product. You're already doing the research on it. You know, on the TRL level, you know, you've worked it up to maybe a 3 or a 4, and it looks like it's something that's really going to be good. That's a great teaser, and certainly it's a great thing to have out. You know, actually have out there for folks that might want to engage with you on the development of a product like that, or you've got a teaser out there that says, hey, we're getting close, and they may want to pay attention. But the bottom line is, no matter how you state in the capability statement or how you put it into the bluff, they need to know, is this a product I can run over to Best Buy and buy right now? Or is this a product that's in development, or it's being used on a very limited basis as you're developing it? And be right up front with everyone. That will get their attention, and they'll remember your company. And on a capability statement, we have had some companies that do work, and they've got products and they've got customers, and this is what they do. And but they're also in development on some other technologies. And you can go ahead and state that on your capability statement, that you also do research into these areas and are working on designs on this and this and this. And that'll get their attention. But the bottom line is, you need to be right up front with them and clarify, if you're trying to sell a new product that you're developing, tell them that right up front. And then they'll follow it. You know, they'll follow attention, but don't try to confuse them. And I know that's what Alan's really been pitching all along, is just keep it simple, keep it short, but get their attention right away. Tell them what the heck you're actually trying to do. Does that help?
I hope so. Bisho, how does that sound to you?
No, exactly. No, I think that's exactly what needs to happen, is that, you know, I think attendees need to understand which side of the fence has more value for them, and sort of that is also part of that assessment is understanding, are they going to find more value for themselves on the matchmaking side, or on the tech socialization / tech transfer side. So, you know, I think by sort of building that granularity in their articulation of their bluff, it goes a long way for them not coming across sort of confused. You know, they're neither here nor there. So thank you.
Yeah, I almost feel like we should go back into the capability matrix and put the bluff in there. But this is Rick's program. He's the expert. I'm not. And if we don't have it in there, I would just encourage you to think of your first statement in your verbal sections, clarifying the bluff to where people understand straight up, this is who we are, this is what we're doing. To something Rick said a while ago, I think something else that would help is, as you're innovating or you're manufacturing, whichever it is you're doing, from the TRL to the completed product, if you're not into innovating or creating customization for someone, I think you ought to state that. We got our product, this is it. If you're into customization, if you're willing to customize further development, I think you need to state that. In my opinion, I think that's the kind of stuff that gives clarity as to what you're about. and invites, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to invite a conversation that you got to defend and go, no, 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 that's not what we're doing. I think you want to invite conversation towards collaborating together, not diametrically opposed to each other. So create that conversation or invite it by just being upfront, as Rick says.
Yeah, and to add to that, Alan, I'll give you a real world example of a client of ours who's presenting at this event. One of our conversations with the client was really around the subject. Do you want to be proposing a product, or do you want to be proposing your capability to make multiple products? So they had a spectrum of products that would fall on different maturity levels, right? So they could have chosen to present a product, or they could have chosen. So in our discussion, in our council sessions, we came to the conclusion that it's probably best to present as a formulator with custom capabilities, and these are the products at varying degrees of technical maturity, right? So because they have a unique capability to custom formulate for different applications. So we believe that was the best way to present the company as a company with that capability to custom formulate materials, which then allows the science advisors to take that into assessment and help them in a future session to help them build it towards that end goal. So just to kind of illustrate to you how we've been counseling some of our companies. So thank you.
I love that. I will encourage all of you. You're all part of the same team here. You may not see that. You may feel like you're very much an individual and you're all by yourself. I've been a small business where I worked by myself, for myself, with myself. And after a while, I drove myself crazy because I was the only one I met and saw. And that's when I realized this is not what I want to do. And I left the business I was in. For you, you're all part of this team. What do I mean by that? We are beginning a matchmaking program. This is not our 5th conference where we're just putting on conference once a year. That's not what we're about. And I've said that more than once. Understand that. If you help us with that, this will not be your only rodeo that you get to ride in. This is the beginning of a program that you help build the reputation to where Boeing goes back and tells the SBLL officer, if you've listened to her from last week, when Diane goes and tells someone at Lockheed or Lockheed Martin or one of the others, and she says, hey, consistently, these people were well prepared. They didn't waste our time. We were able to get to the information. We were able to have productive conversations. Their documentation is well done. That kind of information will go out and beget more to come back to us. We will not have 20 or 30 primes. We will not have a large number of some things that you may think you want, but we have the opportunity to build upon what we're doing. And so each of you plays a role in that. And I hope you realize that. Please keep asking questions. You help us where we can come back and give you better information individually and as a group. So we do covet your questions, your wonderment, your comments.
Couple questions, Alan. Can you
Yes, ma'am.
clarify the pitches? This is only done, i.e., is this only done if a business selects you for a private discussion? What details should we be prepared to present?
Okay, so Rick, I'm guessing when we're talking about the pitch, what we're really talking about is the matchmaking. How from the matchmaking session point of view, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Rick, what information? How would you answer that?
Well, the getting back to what we were talking about before, you want to get their attention. And so in the matchmaking, and we did go over, we had a couple of sessions, and we'll probably have a couple more, I think, on preparing for those sessions. And the last couple we did was preparing for the materials. One being the capability statement, discussing a little bit about the PowerPoint presentation that you'd want to put in, what you want to have or not have. And then we had a little bit of a discussion on who you're talking to, whether it's an SBLO, whether it's one of the buyers, whether it's an engineering manager, an engineering, basically your technical folks. And that's when you're doing the pitch, what you're trying to do in about 5 minutes is to simply explain what you do, what you sell, what your past performance is. And so in your PowerPoint presentation, what you want to do is you want to be very simple, very clear in the product that you produce, who you produce it for, what's the utility of that. If you're a machine shop and you're spending most of your work is being done for, say, aerospace and space, you're going to be wanting to talk about the types of products that you produce for that. You're going to be talking about some of the requirements that come down when you're manufacturing these. It would get into even talk about the fact that you understand quality codes, which is the paperwork that's done for that. However, if you're doing something and say it's for the auto companies and you're manufacturing and you're a machine shop, but the parts that you're producing are more high volume, they still have strict requirements. You want to talk about the types of requirements that they have, some of the issues that you have to deal with to manufacture those things. The easiest way to put it is you start out, you explain what it is in simple detail, good to go over the capability statement. Now you've got their attention and they know what you do. Now what you want to do is you want them to understand that you understand the requirements and the technology that have to be worked just to be able to produce it. In other words, as you don't want to go into a lot of detail, but if you say, hey, I do things for the car companies and the requirements that are giving to us are this, we have certain technical standards that we have to adhere to. We also have paperwork and as far as the materials, that type of thing. You don't want to go into too much detail. You want to give them enough high level discussion of how you manufacture it, problems associated with it, how you overcome those. At the end of that second 5 minutes, they understand that you're the person they want to talk to related to that type of product. So in other words, in 5 minutes, they're going to understand you have expertise in it, not by going into minutia detail, but going into high level, how you manufacture it, the standards that you have to manufacture it to, the problems that are typically associated with it. By the time you hit those three things, 5 minutes will have gone by and you'll still have the attention of the person that you're talking to. So that's how I would approach it.
That's good. I see we have Bijou's hand. I guess you got a comment to go with that.
No, I just didn't lower my hand, but thank you.
I see a question, a great question about the bluff. Do we have an ideal bluff? You know what? That's a good question. I don't have one in my mind right now that I'm thinking of. A good bluff. Elena, I think of this like when you're sitting around in your den and you know, there's two couples in there and we're talking about something, and then the other person starts talking out of the clear blue, says, you know, I gotta believe blue would be really good. And we're talking about lawn mowing or something, and so the person's been thinking about something that maybe was said 5 minutes ago, and we're blue, and I'm like, and they've taken a left turn or a right turn, and you're like, I have no idea what they're talking about. What do you mean blue? And in their mind, they know what they're talking about, and they think you do too. And it's kind of like a joke or anything else as we start telling the story. So really, I think the best way to explain the bluff is kind of like that onion, the layers of the onion. We do manufacturing, we do singular, we do one-off, we do a single, or we're into manufacturing, but we do mass production. We're very good at it. We can create low cost. We can do extreme quality. What Rick was just talking about, the requirements to produce, the technical standards. Think of it in that regard. The bluff. It's overview. We're into manufacturing. I'm not looking for that. Okay, I can scoot on. I need manufacturing. We're into one-offs. I need mass production. It's that kind of thing, because we're going to be passing through those quickly. The person that needs you will stop as soon as you start from the beginning. When you say we're doing manufacturing, okay, I'm still here. We're doing one-offs, I'm still here, and we'll do multiple layers, I'm still here. That's what I need. It's so however you can think of those layers to where I get when you say, I think we can do blue, that I know exactly what you're talking about, because the 3 layers ahead of that was stated in a way that I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've got one other comment on that too. Some of the buzzwords, some of the keywords that they're looking for, and you have to take whatever industry you're really talking about, and as kind of peeling that onion away, there are also things that the business folks and the SBLOs are very, very good at quickly realizing this is a company that's probably not going to be that interesting to us. Here's one that potentially looks like they would probably be good. And I'll give you a good example of that. If you do, and this would be for the aeronautical or the space flight type industries, and they do not, when they order parts, they do not order 1,000 of them or 500, and most of the time not even 50. They're talking about a specific project that they're doing, and they probably want, if it's circuit boards, they're going to want maybe 3 with 4 spares. And literally, that's the kind of low volume they want. So when you're talking with them, they don't want to hear cheap, because cheap means it probably isn't going to work well, and they're not going to want, they're not going to want to deal with you at all. So you don't even have to talk about price, but you talk about, we do low volume, and we do requirements, and with circuit boards, we do requirements anywhere from 20 to 40 layers. We also do X, requirements, things like that. When you tell them that, and you do that in just a couple of sentences, when you do that, they'll say, okay, low volume, they do customization. And we actually had one that I wondered if they should do it, but then the SBLOs afterwards told me that's exactly what we wanted to hear. They said, well, we do these types of parts, and typically we can do it in a week to 10 days. Now, if you need it shorter, you need it in 3 to 4 days or 1 to 2 days, we are going to triple the price for the first one, and it will probably be as much as 10 times as much if you want that within 2 days. And afterwards, they told me that's somebody we want to talk to, because they're upfront about the pricing. The other thing that I'll stress is don't try to say you can do everything. Whatever you do really well, that's what they want to know, because if they try to do business with you and it turns out you're really not that good at those one-offs that you just threw in there, they're not going to come back. And the buyers are under a lot of pressure to make this work. And if it doesn't work the first time, they're not going to come back a second time. So whatever you do really well, that's what you want to put in your bluff, and stay there with it. They can ask, hey, can you do this and this? And to that you say, we have done some of that. We don't do a lot. That would be a custom thing, and we'd have to talk about it and leave it there. But what you do really well, that's the bluff.
I think part of what Rick has helped me with, and I know we're in overtime, so I'm going to I'll try to be brief, but I also want to make sure we're kind of getting where we need to be. Rick has told me if I was a company, and what he was talking to me about is like, Alan, understand, you may want to work with a prime, or you may think you want to work with a prime, but the fact is you got to get there. You got to get someplace, and if you're not what they need right now, and you try to be what they need, you're probably going to create pain for both of you, and you're not going to make it. Whereas there are second, third, and fourth tier companies that already work with them. They're taking the beating. They deal with the financial just in time, but they do all that stuff, and you're not there yet. But they need stuff that you have. So it's like, if you'll just be who you really are, and on your way to getting there, then you'll match with someone. That's what we, Rick, me, Vicky, Bijo, all of us together as a group, that's what we're about, is to attract enough and help us to where we communicate well. Then we'll find connections. Your contract will be with, you didn't know they existed, and they're out of wherever, Temple, Texas, or it's, Olathe, that type of thing, or Lenexa. That's what we're talking about. So understand it's a process. And if you do that, then I think you'll connect much better.
Alan, can I share the timelines for access to the booth?
Yes, please. Yes.
In order to have access to the platform and to your display booth, you will need to have paid your registration fee of $129. The deadline for that payment is September 11th. That's Saturday by midnight, before midnight. The earlier you pay, the earlier you're going to be able to access your booth and start getting it set up, and then also accessing the platform. You'll have access to your display booth if you have paid no later than Friday, September 3rd. And you'll have access to the platform by the 6th of September.
So you've got an entire week. It's really cool. For those of us that have been a part of this from last year, you get an entire week to go. If you can imagine, when you go physically to a conference, what do you generally get? You're there the day before, and usually by the time you're worn out because you've been traveling, you go in there and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're going to close the doors at 5. So I've watched it over and over. Everybody's scrambling to hurry up, put it up, and do the thing. Here we're talking about having as much as an entire week to set your virtual booth up and get your stuff done. If you're going to pay the $129, you might as well pay it early, just so where you can get done. Our challenge to you is, we need you to pay the sooner the better, to where we know you're really going to participate. We want you to participate. If you don't want to participate, you're not certain, opt out early and let us know, where we know the size of what we're working with. That helps us a lot. We don't want to help everyone, and then we're at 60. We have 55 matchmaking sessions, and out of those 55, 20 of them disappear because no one paid, and they're really not going to come. Just help us with the transparency there. Anything else, Vicki?
That's it.
Cool. Any questions? I know we've done a lot of talking, but hopefully everyone's up to speed with what you're doing. If you've got questions, like I said, reach out to your tech coach, your business advisor. If you don't have one, let us know, where we can get back to you. I noticed we've got, I see Colorado, Texas, is Oklahoma on. I don't know if I see anybody. And then we've got our KDOC folks, Chris. And so hopefully I'm not missing anyone. Thank you all for being here today. Vicki, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, we had a question. How many are actually participating? And at this point, we have a total of 53 between matchmaking and the tech transfer portion combined.
We're going to participate.
Good. So we're basically, this is not a huge conference this year. but that also means that it's at a level to where we hopefully can have some very productive conversations and meetings. And like I said, just remember, this is even Diane with Boeing has already told us she wants to come back. Are we okay with having meetings where we pull 3 or 4 select clients together and have a meeting with just those? And I'm like, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about, because we're talking about ongoing. All right. Any last minute thoughts or questions or comments? John Matecki, you don't have anything to say?
Actually, I was hit fun. If you haven't seen, and some of you may have overlooked it, the Tech Warrior Enterprise is kind of filling in that poster board session, but we're doing it pre-event. So starting Monday, my colleague Dan will be sitting with you for our sessions to go over what your widget does. Think of a show and tell. The example that I like to use, and I think that was in the email, is think of the He-Man doll that has the damage chest. I show it in front of you, I smack them once, it spins, it shows a little bit of damage, I smack it again, it spins and shows you that it created more damage. That's what we're looking for. If you're not at that point, we still want to sit down and chat with you. Dan and I are the most upfront, and there's quite a few people on this call that will verify this. We'll help you wherever you are looking for help. So if you want to say, look, I'm nervous to talk to the tech scouts, can I run my pitch by you? Absolutely. If you're working on your video and say, hey, I'm not sure if this meets the marks, can you watch this? Absolutely. We say no very rarely. We want to help you so that when you get to think of us as preseason, when you get into the season at Encountering Innovation, we want you to be on so that when you have that interaction, you're going to have your product get to whoever the end user is. So use us. The times were sent out. I know Vicki and team sent some stuff out. So we've got 50 spots available starting Monday all the way through Thursday. If you wait until the 31st to try to register, you're probably not going to get in with us, and then we'll have to set something else up. So thank you.
Question. If we have someone that has reached out to us, they don't see participating in the Encountering Innovation at this point, they're not quite ready, but they would like to present to you, can they do that? And how would we transfer or refer someone to you if you're into that?
I would say, for the sake of giving you the best that I possibly can and being of value to the Kansas SBDC and overall the Encountering Innovation, now is not the time for that, but yes. So once this event is over, we would love to set up. So our team does Tech Connect, which is one-on-one events. You can go to our website to find our information. So I would direct those folks to that of how do we do the one-on-one. But I want to make sure that our primary focus for the next 2 weeks is supporting those demos for Encountering Innovation. Once we clear that hurdle and we're done with the event, we'll have time to sit down and focus on those things. Excellent.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Also, we have the practice pitch session starting next week as well. There was a link to sign up for that in an email that I sent you coming from EI Admin. Bill Carey will be doing those. If you haven't signed up and want to and can't find the link, let me know and I'll get that to you. If you haven't, you just haven't signed up and want to, and this is for those that are in the tech transfer activities, then be sure and do that.
Yeah, and I would just say, out of everything that we do, we've had a lot of clients say that that's probably the most helpful thing that we do, is just to do a practice pitch. So in the long run, when you walk in there, you kind of know what to expect. I am not a tech scout, but I've sat in on an awful lot of these meetings. And so what I'll do, and whoever else is in the room with me, will try and pretend that we're tech scouts for the moment. And we will ask the kind of questions we think we'll ask. The dialogue will go kind of like what you would expect. And then when we can't hold that anymore, which might be 30 seconds, it might be 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then we'll drop into an informal mode and say, okay, how did that feel? Or this part seemed a little awkward. So then we'll drop into the informal feedback. So when you walk in to give your pitch, you'll have a reasonable feel for what it would be like in the real event. Is that, for those of you that have sat in on practice pitches, I think you know what I'm talking about, and I hope I'm saying that fairly.
Bill, we had a question. Can they sign up for multiple practice pitch sessions?
Well, I would say start out with one and to see where you are. We have done multiple pitch sessions with different people. We can do that as time permits. We want to at least get everybody in once, everybody that wants it. But yeah, we're in this to make sure that you're ready. And you might find that the first pitch didn't go at all like what you thought, and you said, man, I need to redo this, or I need to totally change this. Can I practice again? That's fine.
We've seen that. Our first year we had someone do it 3 times, and then we saw them in front of the tech scouts, and it was amazing. We were so impressed because he'd come so far, and I kid you not, Brett Sheringhausen walked right up to him, patted him on the back, and said, "I got to tell you, that was great information. Whoa, you need to dial it down." And we were like, it was amazing how it was like we've gone from this level of talk down to like, we get it now, we get it. And Brett walked up to him and knew nothing of what we'd been through with him, and patted him on the back and had said that. So we've learned a lot. So the catch is, you probably don't have to pitch multiple times unless you aren't listening to what we're saying. We really are telling you what the tech scouts are telling us and what we've watched over the last several years.
One thing I would just add, during the pitches, people ask us this every year. People want to show videos, and the tech scouts generally don't like that. If you have something, please run it by me or Vicky, and but it might be something really short. If you're showing, okay, this part fits in there like that or something, that's fine. But they really don't like a 3-minute video showing a UAV fly around and give 20 seconds worth of information. It's a waste of their time.
Yeah, I'd say
I've literally had that happen before. And I told this client in no uncertain terms not to do that. They did it anyway. And then after he left the room, they actually turned to me and said, "Why did you allow that? You shouldn't have allowed that. You know, you should be teaching your people better." And I was like, my only answer was, I told them not to do that on multiple occasions and they didn't listen. I'm not going to throw my team under the bus for the sake of somebody that doesn't listen. But it didn't look good for the client because they went, oh, you know, kind of like one of those people that don't listen.
Well, and to what Bill just said, this was my point a while ago. We're all in this together. When you go off script and you do stuff like that, you truly create a worse light for all of us. So as we work together, please listen to what we're talking about and try to focus. This is about imparting good information. When's the last time you've been on YouTube looking for information and you click on a video and all you want is, you just want the detail, and you hear, and you're like, oh my gosh, how cute can it be? This is not what I need. You wanted the information, right? Yeah, Bisho.
No, you touch on a very important part. And one of the things I tell my team is that we don't want to have people applying to this event if they're not coachable. Yeah. Because in the end, it blows up on them and it blows up on us. Yeah. So I'm putting that out there, and none of those folks are here attending because they are not the kinds of folks who do attend. They tend to be the ones who don't attend. They think they know it all, and they show up with their own angle of how they want to do it. But we go as far as managing expectations by screening people for those tendencies. So just want you all to know. Thank you.
Good point. Thank you, Bijou. Yeah, you're right. They tend to self-select out. Our first year, Bill and we didn't know what we were doing, and we were learning as we went. Bill was in the next room whenever I fired a client, and he said, whoa, that was totally unprofessional. I said, no, you don't understand. You need to leave. And he's like, what? I said, we're done. He went, what? I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, to be
So we
fair,
love you.
to be fair, he had been pushing Alan's and my buttons for a long time. And then, yeah, it was a bunch
I
of nonsense.
snapped, didn't I, Bill? It's like, oh, we broke Alan. All right. This has been a great meeting. Hopefully, all of you can go out there and tell others, get ready for what you're doing. We wish you well. Like I said, please give us good feedback. Let us know as we move forward. Thanks, John, for showing up and helping us. Ready for you for next week. That's exciting. And everyone else, make it a great weekend. Hug somebody that you know.